It is still Thursday, October 1st. It's about 8:30 in the evening. Things are kind of calm here. Rainbow finished playing. They're both napping on my lap. Foxy and there's Foxy and Rainbow. We played with toys. It's been kind of sprinkling all day. But no, I want to make this video. I've actually been wanting to make it for a while, but I always get sidetracked. I talk about being on disability. There's a couple things, so um, I figured I'd talk about my heart condition. It's called neurocardiogenic syncope. So neurological, cardiogenic, so cardiac, your heart, and syncope. Um, so dizziness, vertigo, passing out. So I was diagnosed when I was 29, but I probably have had it much longer. Um, it took a while to diagnose me because, nobody wants to believe that someone in their 20s has a heart condition. And the first time something happened really serious, I passed out in the shower. And when I went to the hospital, they diagnosed me with a sinus infection. They had done a CAT scan and they're like, "Do you know you have a major sinus infection?" I'm like, no. I have absolutely no symptoms. I don't know what you're talking about. And that happened a couple times, and then finally, doctor had me go to the cardiologist, um, and they did what's called a tilt table test and confirmed that I had the heart condition. I guess I should kind of tell you a little bit about what it is. It is probably easier to tell you, to explain how a healthy person's body reacts. So, when something causes your blood pressure to get out of whack, when something causes your blood pressure to drop, and it is utterly amazing how many things can cause a change in your blood pressure that you don't even realize until you're diagnosed with something like this. Oh, I have oil lamps going. You would not believe how much light they put off. So, and sorry, I still have my sore throat. It's actually a little worse, but so you can't really. Oh well, I don't do this to look good. But so in a normal person, when something causes your blood pressure to drop, your brain, your nervous system sends signals to your heart to tell your heart to speed up to compensate for the drop in blood pressure. And so they kind of counteract each other, and eventually your blood pressure comes up and regulates, and your heart rate will go back to normal, and normal person doesn't even feel anything. For me, those electrical impulses that your brain, your nervous system, or whatever it is, sends throughout your body, they don't work normally. So what happens is when my blood pressure drops, and I have low blood pressure to begin with, always have. There was a time when I was on some medicine that it went high for a little while, but it's normally otherwise always been pretty low. So low that when I would go to the doctor, the nurse who took it, she would actually almost every time have to go out and get somebody else to take it because they could never believe how low it was. But yeah, no, I'm just weird. So yeah, so when something causes my blood pressure to drop, the signals that go from your brain to your heart, they don't work for me. So when my blood pressure drops, my heart rate doesn't go up. In fact, my heart rate drops, and that causes dizziness, vertigo, and if you don't realize what's going on, in time to catch yourself, it can result in you passing out. Um, and it is, like I said, amazing how many things affect your blood pressure. Um, Actually, it's probably easier to say what doesn't affect your blood pressure, and that would probably be nothing. it it everything affects it. If you wake up too quickly, like if I'm in a deep sleep and I wake up too quickly, it affects the blood pressure. If I've been standing for too long, if you stand with your knees locked, if you don't stay hydrated, that's a huge one. Just turning your head and looking, for some reason, if I don't eat enough, or if I eat too much, that changes the blood pressure. Going from a sitting up to a standing position, bending bending down like repeatedly, um, going to the bathroom. That was, a shocker. You know, finding out that just going to the bathroom changes your blood pressure. Uh, Getting into hot or cold temperatures, water or air, can change your blood pressure, and that's actually why the first time I passed out was in the shower. I was working third shift, and I had just woken up, and I was getting in the shower to go to work, and between the waking up, um, and I never slept well on third shift, but I don't really know who does, but yeah, so waking up quickly and then getting in the shower and the change in body temperature. Um, so I mean, the list is just endless, um, of what can change your blood pressure. Almost anything. Stress. Oh my gosh, stress is a huge one. Overexertion, which is why I have to stop so many times when mowing the lawn. So, but yeah, but the tilt table test, what it was, um, they you get hooked up to an IV, and uh, yeah, there's a blood pressure cuff on you, and then you're strapped down to a table, and what they do is they raise it up to nearly 90-degree angle, so you're standing nearly completely straight. Um, and what the test is basically trying to do is to force your blood pressure to drop, to see. You're not happy. What are you doing, Mama? Anyways, so the test is designed to force a change in your blood pressure to see what your heart does. I guess. I don't know for sure. I'm not a doctor. Hey, you stop. So, and the test was supposed to be, it was done at a hospital, Rush Copley in Aurora. It was supposed to be, okay, you guys, we're all settled. Um, it was supposed to be 2 hours long, and you're strapped in. Um, there's a strap underneath your armpits and around your waist and your legs, and then there's a platform for your feet at the bottom, if I remember. And it was about 10 minutes in, and strange things started happening, and I didn't know what was going on. And what had happened was there was supposed to be a doctor there, and to monitor, but you know how doctors always get double booked. So he was in another room, and there were three nurses in there with me. And since they're not cardiologists, they didn't realize what was beginning to happen at about 10 minutes in. And like I said, this test was supposed to be 2 hours. And what it's supposed to be is like you're on the table, and then they raise you up to that 90-degree angle. And then over the 2 hours, the table goes to different elevations, and they try to get you to pass out. Well, I was literally just raised up, and about 10 minutes in, I started sweating. I started feeling nauseous. I started feeling claustrophobic. I started, I thought I was gonna vomit, and like I was, I can't even describe it. It's like the blood pressure cuff. I'm like, it's too tight. It's too tight, and so the nurse took it off, I think. Um, and then they were like, they didn't know what was going on, and like one of them ran to go get the doctor, and one of them was holding a garbage can because I thought I was gonna puke, and then 14 minutes in, just dush, the straps. I went down and the straps caught me. Um, so yeah, 14 minutes in, and I didn't fully pass out. At least I don't think I did because they lowered the bed, and I can remember hearing voices because they were freaking out, and so the doctor, he wasn't there, and he didn't witness it, and they had undone the blood pressure cuff. So when he got there, he was not happy that they had removed the blood pressure cuff. And I probably had electrodes on to monitor my heart. But yeah, so he wasn't able to see the blood pressure readings or the stuff he needed to see because he had been in the other room with the other patient. Um, and I remember afterwards, I was freezing cold. They just kept putting hot blankets on me because I was just freezing. And I'm like, I could tell he was angry, and not at me, just at the situation. And I'm like, you're not gonna make me do that again, are you? He's like, no. He's like, even though I don't have the readings, it's a positive tilt table test. He's like, you have neurocardiogenic syncope, and for some people, it's temporary condition. But temporary means different things for different people. Temporary can mean 2 weeks. Temporary can mean 30 years. And for some people, it's just permanent. It's in the same family as something called POTS, which I think more people have and more people are familiar with. I remember when I was diagnosed, when I was 29, I'm 45 now, so it's been a while. um, Whenever I'd go to the hospital, which it happened on a regular basis after I was diagnosed, but none of the doctors in the emergency rooms even knew what the condition was. They'd have to leave and go to the nurse's station and look the condition up and research it, um, to be able to assist me with whatever I was in the emergency room. But yeah, and then I haven't been to a cardiologist for a while because I don't have insurance. I've been fighting with Social Security, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so but I had a second tilt table test, and it was done at Chicago at Northwestern Hospital. I actually um my mom watched the dogs at that time. I don't know how many I had, three. Um did I have Foxy? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. She watched the dogs, and I took the train into Chicago, and I stayed the night because I knew um, that I wasn't going to be able to do much after the test. So, but by that time, I had been on, a revolving door of medicine for a bunch of stuff, including my heart condition. Uh, so, um, I'd been taking medicine for years, and even though I didn't take it that morning, it's still in your system. But I went for another tilt table test, and this one was only supposed to be 45 minutes, and you're still strapped in. I can't remember if I had an IV or not. But monitors on your for your heart, the little sticky things they put on you, EKG stuff, and um, blood pressure cuff, and they raised me up, and it was getting close to the 45 minutes, and so I'm like, wow, I'm not gonna have a positive tilt table. That's awesome. And but I started, acting kind of weird, and um, And I had a different reaction than I did the first time. I still got really hot and um, just, irritable. But this time, and they don't let you eat or drink before. But this time I started dry heaving, just couldn't stop dry heaving. And she was, because, I had told her I think I'm going to be sick. And so she had actually let the test go a little past 45 minutes because she could tell I was heading towards passing out. Um, and um, so uh, she was holding the garbage can, and then she finally put me down when I started to lose consciousness, but she didn't. Whoa. Rainbow just snapped her head at the cat. Um, but she didn't let me pass out all the way because by the time she put me down, from what she told me, my blood pressure and my heart rate had gone so low that they weren't even registering on the meters anymore. Um, so I don't think that means I flatlined. I don't think it wasn't recording anymore. So, I had to lay there for a while and they had to get a second person in there and they helped me up and um, so and so that was, a second positive tilt table test. Uh, that was a while ago, probably, I don't even know, maybe 8 years ago. But yeah, so the condition, it's something that you have to constantly be aware of how you're feeling, and you have to constantly, because like I said, anything can change your blood pressure. I went to a museum with a friend once, and I made sure to bring water, and we ate, and but I had just spent too much time on my feet, and I was on the verge of passing out, and the museum was closing, and we literally spent an hour sitting on the stone um, front, and I had my legs um, propped up on one of those massive stone pillars. But yeah, because what happens is because my blood pressure is so low, um, the blood pools in my lower extremities and it doesn't come back up to, my brain and it just doesn't come back up. And, so, but yeah, so you always have to be aware. So I don't go places where I know there's going to be a lot of standing or there's going to be a lot of walking. Um, stress, anxiety, all those things contribute. And, I have to be careful mowing the yard. Um, just even getting on the tollway and driving, because I don't like being on the tollway. When I was, yeah, when I was first diagnosed, I had to be careful in the car. Um, and when I was diagnosed, I was working, no, no, I was working just third shift, the one job. But when I went out on disability, I had been working two jobs over 80 hours a week. And I think my body just had enough, and the heart condition got worse. And eventually, I um, will need a pacemaker to keep my heart going. Right now, it's really weird. I don't really get it, but I have one of the medications I'm on, I guess, raises your blood pressure, and the other one lowers your blood pressure. I don't really get it. What are we doing? What are we doing, Bobo? Um, oh my gosh. Okay. What's going on? Huh? Okay. What are we doing? Oh, you're so heavy. Okay. Um. But yeah. Um. And when I was diagnosed, I wasn't quite a gym rat, but I went to the gym 5, 6 days a week for 2.5 hours. I ran for 45 minutes. I did weights, did the elliptical, and, I was in much better shape. And um, even then, one of the cardiologists was like, if you lose weight, it would help your condition. And I'm like, I'm I just had lost 30 pounds. I'm like, I'm in the best shape that I've been in for a while. But yeah, no, whenever the heart condition acts up, you get put on an exercise ban. And so I've gained way too much weight, but um, I need to work on losing it. But it's difficult when um, a lot of the exercises you do literally trigger your heart condition. So um, that makes it difficult to lose weight. Plus the medications I'm on, not just for the heart condition, but for other stuff. They cause weight gain. And but yeah, so that is my heart condition. I'm probably leaving lots of stuff out, but it's neurocardiogenic syncope. It's just something that I have to deal with. It affects every aspect of my life. Um, I can't really go anywhere without factoring in how it could possibly affect me. I have to bring water everywhere with me. I've joked in the past about I should just, always be hooked up intravenously to an IV and fluid bag. Um, so, but yeah, so it's not really much fun. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Um, I can't even tell you how many times I've said to my doctor, I wish it would just go away. I just want it to go away. I don't want this. When you're young, you don't think you're gonna be diagnosed with a heart condition, and it sucks. And um it's just a part of who I am, and I hate it, but I have to live with it. Can't get rid of it. It's only going to get worse as I get older. If I lose weight, maybe that would help, but I don't see how, because I was you know much thinner when I was diagnosed. So um but yeah, so that's my heart condition. um Recently someone had messaged me, um and they had said, and I don't really know how I come across in the videos, but they had said that I had to stop um, blaming my situation on my disability or something like that. And I stopped, and I'm like, do I come across that way in my videos? I know I talk about, having a heart condition and being on disability, but I don't blame um, my disability for my situation. Uh, it plays a part in my everyday life, and I can't do anything without factoring it in. And my heart condition is the reason that I can't work anymore. So it's the reason for the decrease in income, and being on disability. So I guess in that way it does factor into the situation I'm in now. But I don't blame my disability for the situation I'm in the house. And so I don't know if I come across that way, but I didn't think I did. But if I do, yeah, no, I my disability is not directly responsible for the the mold in the house and my financial situation. You do what you have to survive. And I took some loans out to get the work done that I had done on the house, the roof and other stuff. But yeah, no, if I come across blaming, where it seems like I blame my disability for my current situation, I don't. It is a factor in my life, and it's something that I have to always be vigilant, vigi- vigilant with. It's getting late. Um, I have to always be aware of it. I have to always be aware of what my body is doing, and I have to, read my body's signals to know if I need to stop and sit down. Um, and I used to end up in the emergency room so many times because I wasn't honest with myself, and I'd push myself too far, and I'd trigger my cardiac condition, and I'd nearly pass out, and I'd either call an ambulance or drive myself to the emergency room, which that, is not recommended. I used to justify it by being like, it's only 5 minutes away, I'll be fine. But yeah, no. But yeah, so it's a huge part of my life. It factors in to everything. Um, cleaning, playing with Rainbow, walking her. Um, there's literally nothing that won't affect it. And if I'm not careful, if I don't watch um, and pay attention to how my body's feeling, it will escalate to the point where I will pass out. And, that's not a good situation to be in. Um, so, yeah. So that's the heart condition, neurocardiogenic syncope. Um, yeah, just part of my life every day. So, I don't know. I think I covered everything. I can't think. I'm sure I left stuff out. I'm always leaving stuff out. I should really like have notes and you know plan this stuff out, but I don't know. That's not me. I just ramble. It eventually all gets said. So yeah. So yeah, just sitting here with the dogs and the lamps. The candles have already. They were just tea lights. They've already burnt out. But yeah. So have a good evening. Now you've learned a little bit about my heart condition. Um, yeah, that's that's what I live with every day. But yeah, all right. I'm just rambling. Have a good night.